Hey folks, everybody liked the 80s video so much where we showed the club in the 80s, what the 80s really look like, not what you think they look like or remember them. Anyway, real footage. So I thought I would dig through my closet and say, you know, I think I've got some old clothing that I used to wear as a DJ back in the day in my closet. And lo and behold, I found about 14 pieces. And so I'm going to showcase those and show you what 80s clothes for DJs really looked like in the 80s. And
yeah, I enjoyed some of the stuff they were wearing in that video from Spellbound. Some of the hilarious suspenders and parachute pants. And
well, the 80s are very glamorized, and I thought they were hideous. You know, when you go to an 80s party, people wear fluorescent colors, and they'll stick their ponytail out the side of their head, and they'll put on a bunch of makeup, and they think that's 80s. That's not what the 80s look like. 80s were bad perms, mullet haircuts, and all kind of other stuff that I'm about to show you here in a minute. You're not gonna believe this. So anyway, so let's get started.
Let's see some of your dinosaurs here, Jim.
Dinosaur Clothing. Oh boy. Okay, so first these are ties, and you notice they're still tied because I didn't know how to tie ties. So I would tie the ties ahead of time. The keyboard ties. This one's got drums and band parts on it.
Hey, go up close to the camera.
I bet a lot of you people have already seen stuff like this. But wait, it gets better. It gets better. We're gonna just kind of throw this stuff over here. We'll deal with it later.
Yep.
And this shirt is from the 70s, late 70s, and people used to wear these.
Look at that sexy beast.
Silk shirts. And you'd go to a place at the mall. People used to go to malls. You'd go to a place at the mall called the merry-go-round. And a lot of people called them temporary clothing because they didn't last long. But I took care of mine and hung them up in the closet. And this is an original silk shirt from about 79. And you'd wear those, and you'd have the gold chains and do the whole, you know, yo, I've been here for hours. You would do that. All right, so let's keep moving here. This is an original pair of parachute pants. And they're a size 27 in the waist, which I was at one time as an infant. No, but anyway, they got zippers all over them. That's the parachute pants. That's the real parachute pants. And I can't believe I used to get in those. I could probably fit an arm in those now.
Very lightweight.
I mean, I'm twice the man I used to be, obviously, right? But you know, they were kind of easy access for the ladies or whatever. But anyway, that's parachute pants.
And would those come completely unzipped or no?
I don't know.
Okay, so they're not convertible to shorts. They're just.
No, I did have a pair that you could unzip the legs and take the legs off and make them into shorts. That was cool. It was cool in 1983, not today.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's keep going. This shirt is.
No, the hot sauce shirt.
Yeah, that's mostly from I would say this is late 90s, early 2000s, and I wore this probably 10 years before I finally retired it. But girls would come up to the DJ booth and go, "Hey, DJ Hot Sauce." I'm like, that's not my DJ name, okay? But because I wore these shirts all the time, people started calling me DJ Hot Sauce. But I like these shirts. They're too small for me now. I got bigger and better. All right, so here we go. This is from about 88. And this shirt, if you could feel this.
Oh, that looks pretty cool.
You would be in La La Land because
it's got some interesting artwork on it.
I used to go down to the Junkyard's Daughter and Little 5 Points and all these places like that and try to buy real cool cutting edge stuff because it helped you hook up with the creative girls. They love stuff like this. But at least they did back then. But anyway, it feels like a
lot going on there.
Yeah, it's a lot going on there. Too much. Let's keep going. This shirt is from 1981, and MTV had just got on there. Look how tiny that is.
Oh, yeah. That's
when I used to be a little person. But this shirt was actually made in the 1950s. It's got little records on it. And I found it at a thrift store or you know, an antique clothing store. It's where I shopped a lot back in those days. But I bought it in 81, and I was told that it was made in about 57 or 58.
Yeah, it looks fragile.
It's fragile.
Very delicate.
Especially these records are very fragile. Okay. This is a white leather jacket that I wore a lot. And I got a job at this place called Confetti, and I thought I would be so cool if I could drive up in my new Pontiac Fiero, poor man's Corvette, right? And wear this white leather jacket. And so it's got some stains on it because I got in a couple of fights when I was wearing this thing, and I think I got most of the blood stains off of it. But, you know, things happen at nightclubs, right?
It's got some scuffs where you hit the pavement.
Oh, yeah. Where the guy drugged me across the parking lot. I couldn't help it. All right, so this is another one from the late 70s, early 80s. And this is what they call a Napoleon jacket.
Oh, wow.
And it's got the brass buttons on it. And you could stand around like this if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
But it's brushed leather. And it's still not in too bad a shape. And it still kind of smells like leather. That was the thing about clothing back then, is it had a smell that you could remember for 45 years. But this is a short jacket, and I've got pictures of me wearing this a lot, and that was one of my favorite jackets. All right, this is another shirt from the 50s. And for a while, bowling shirts got popular, bowling shirts. And so you can see whoever had this worked at Red Rock Cola, which would have been my mother's third husband. And his name was Rufus.
Oh, yeah.
So his name is on the shirt. So I used
Rufus.
I used to take this shirt bowling, and I would bowl like a 180 when I wasn't really that good of a bowler. But anyway, bowling shirts were very popular for a time if they were old. This one was made.
It looks very retro.
Yeah, this one was made in the 50s. So
wow.
That's a really super old shirt. And I can't believe it's even still together. And I can't believe I saved it. Here's another one of these hot sauce shirts.
It's like Guy Ferrara.
Yeah. Guy Ferrara. Yeah, here's another hot sauce shirt. Those were super popular. And there was a store at the mall called, what was it called? Big Shots? No, not Big Shots. That's a pool hall. Anyway, these shirts were mandatory at American Pie. And eventually we're going to do a whole entire episode about American Pie. That's another club that is an icon in Atlanta that we haven't talked about yet. But I want to get pictures. You know, I've got a whole folder from a guy named Terry Brown, and I can't even show any of those pictures. I can't show them. Nobody's going to see those.
That looks more like something you'd wear to like Cocktail Cove or something.
Well, Cocktail Cove is American Pie. When it closed, it became Cocktail Cove.
Oh, okay.
So American Pie closed in November of 2007.
Mm-hmm.
So it became Cocktail Cove for a little bit after that.
Okay.
But anyway, this was mandatory wardrobe at American Pie. But stand by, because there's a lot of people that are asking about American Pie, and I want to have other people on that work there, and we're going to interview them, and that's going to be a heck of a show.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, heck of a podcast.
Because that was also a very fun place.
Yes. All right, and this is of course from the Miami Vice era, 80, 85, 86, and you had to wear these to look super cool, and you had the shirt, the long sleeve shirt with the cuffs rolled up. That's how people wore those. If you ever watch an old episode of Miami Vice, you'll see silly stuff like this.
That one looks very 80s to me.
It is very 80s.
Okay.
All right, here's the prize.
Save the best for last.
Yeah, when I went to at one time Ted Turner had talked about buying MTV, and we all thought it was going to happen. It never took place. And so I went up for an interview, and I had ordered this jacket, and this is an MTV jacket. Look at that.
Look at that.
And that's an original MTV jacket that came from them in 1981. As soon as they hit the air, I ordered this thing, and I don't remember what I paid for it. It seemed like it was like $75 or something.
That's probably worth a little bit of money now.
Yeah, I don't know if I could ever want to sell it on eBay. It's got too much sentimental value.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I wore it all the time from probably 81 to probably, gosh, I probably wore this thing till about 91. Who knows? Whenever they quit playing music on MTV, which is sad. Now what do they show on MTV?
I don't even know. I don't even have cable anymore.
Yeah, who has cable? Everybody's watching YouTube.
They used to
now.
show music videos, then it went to like reality TV, and
Right.
they moved all the music videos to MTV2, but you had to have like the upgraded cable package to get MTV2.
That's the deal. All right, so if you have any old 80s clothes, or if you know anything else about these that I don't know, put in the comments. Hit subscribe, hit the like button, and let me know what kind of old clothes you saved, because I didn't think I had any of this stuff. I started looking through my closet and I went, oh my gosh, how is that still in there? So now I'm going to show you one last thing.
Yeah, we'll cut and we'll go check out the bolo ties.
Yeah, these are bolo ties that I wore in the throughout the night, about 86 to about 96. All right, we're over here where the bolo ties are. These are bolo ties that people started wearing probably in the mid 80s. I started buying these in 86. I think I wore them until about 96 or 97. But anyway,
what was the purpose of these?
They just got popular. That you put them around the collar and you tighten them up a little bit, and you could wear them, down. Or they're just so many different kinds. And I had about 50 of these at one time, but these are the ones that I still have. And so let me tell you a little bit about some of the funny ones. First of all, this was
total decoration then, just
and it was the whole Western thing. I had cow fur boots that I wore, and I wish I still had those, but those didn't last. They had spurs on them, and you had the bolo hat, and it was a whole Western look that I don't know where it came from or why. Somebody out there might know who started all this. Why did it start? A lot of recording artists wore this stuff, but these two right here, look at these two. They had batteries in them, and had patterns that would move. And I would go down to little 5 points and find these things and buy them, the real unique ones. This one has a compass on it. Now you got an app for that. But they had a compass, so if you get lost, arrowhead. That one, of course, the stone is missing off the jade. Sorry about that. This one
missing a stone.
This one's got bullets.
That's a tough guy.
Look at that bullet.
Tough guy.
All right, these were called sewer watches, and and you wore them on each wrist. You wore one on both wrists, and so you had one on each wrist. And the sewer watch, you open it up, and there's everything you need to know.
Good Lord.
Isn't that funny?
That looks amazing.
And of course, there's an app for that now also.
Well, this pool table worked out nice.
It did. Pool tables are good. All right, this I used to wear when I used to go to photograph equestrian events, and it made the girls think you knew something about horses when you really didn't. And then this is a baseball diamond in case you went to a baseball game. You'd have that one on. And these are collar corners. Okay, so you put those on your corner, and I've lost the other one because one would come off and you'd always still have the other one. Here's a Tom Petty pin from '77 that I used to put on my lapel, and I have a lot of those, but that's the only one I have in this box.
Cool. There's a Hawaiian Tropic.
Yeah, this is I used to shoot pictures for Hawaiian Tropic for about 30 years, and I was one of several photographers, and I don't think
like a Baywatch almost.
Yeah, that pass looks like it's from about 91 or 2. Some of them had your actual picture on it. But anyway, these are bolo ties. And bolo ties were just so cool for so long. And I think I wore them longer than anybody else, probably about 10 years. I probably should have worn them about 5 years.
I think you've got some photos of you wearing them, right?
I do, and we might see a couple of those. We'll check that out and see. But thank you. I hope you enjoyed your trip through the 80s. This is what the 80s and 90s really looked like. This is not fake. This is the real stuff from the real time period, okay?
Indeed.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, you're looking at some pictures from the old wardrobe from the 80s and 90s. This looks like it's about 86, maybe 87. And if you can see my boots, I've got the cow fur boots on with the silver tips on the end, and wearing the bolo tie. And that's a Paisley jacket, a Prince Paisley tux jacket that I found somewhere. And of course somebody stole it eventually. But that was the normal garb for hanging out with the tall chick that I was with. And anyway.
Very fancy outfit there.
Yes, she was a female. Okay, come on. All right, so this is at a pub in Orlando, and I'm wearing the moving bolo tie, and you see the bartender's kind of impressed looking at it, and I'm sporting my mustache, which I used to call the womb broom. Time to sweep up.
She's looking to get swept.
No, I hope not. All right, so this is even worse. This is the stonewashed jeans tucked into the boots, and you used to go to Dave & Buster's on Sunday night, and you knew which girls were the strippers because they were with guys with their pants tucked into their boots like that. So
I hope if they ever do Napoleon Dynamite 2, they hire you.
Oh no, this is horrible. But anyway, that's what people wore then, and that's what I wore, and I caught some flack for it.
Stonewashed jeans.
Stonewashed, and they came out with baggy stonewashed jeans.
Goofy bolo tie.
Yeah, bolo tie, and that's a Western fringe jacket I'm wearing. You can see it better there.
In the photo booth.
But like I said, we used to go to Dave & Buster's on a Sunday night, and you'd look for the guys that had their pants tucked in the boots like that because you knew that their date was a stripper probably. That's hilarious. All right, this is the white leather jacket. I got into a fight that night, and there's blood all over it.
It actually did happen.
Yeah, it's not one of those.
So Haley, you can't be like
that never happened
because he has a picture of it.
Absolutely, I got photographs of this stuff and some really bad video that I can't show anybody. But
You should have seen the other guy.
Right.
The other guy.
But I'm snarling my lip up just to show where they got hit, So anyway, whatever.
Took a lick.
All right, this is from like 77. I just graduated from high school, and I've got a baby blue leisure suit on, which I don't have that one anymore.
That would have been a nice one to show.
But that was a 1974 Oldsmobile Omega. I wonder if anybody else had one of those besides me. And everybody wanted to look like either Rick Springfield or Steve Perry back then, so I was trying to do the same thing.
Very nice.
And this is the night I went and photographed Michael Jackson at Madison Square Garden in New York. And so that's why you see the socks and the red bow tie and the crotch belt instead of a waist belt. That's a crotch belt. Sorry. And I had on the white leather jacket again when it was very clean and very new and smelt very good. And this would have been in August of '84 when that picture was taken.
All right. And we saved the best one for last. This is we couldn't find a picture of Jim in the 1970s with this shirt, but we found one from the 1770s.
Right. So this is a thing called Bridgerton, and I knew nothing about Bridgerton. He said, Jim, just dress up like 70s. I went, oh, okay. Well, he meant the 1770s, not the 1970s. So everybody was in 1770s garb. Tell them what you were wearing.
The Bridgerton live experience. My wife Erica, who's a cellist, played that whole show, and so she invited Jim and I to come the last night. I think she was doing it, and I surprised her and dressed up in a tuxedo with a Wolf T-shirt and like a Joe Dirt wig that I had kind of tied up to look more like Mozart or something. And Jim wore this, and we kind of crashed the Queen's Ball.
We crashed the Queen's Ball, but I wore the wrong clothing. But there it is.
Anyway, thanks for sharing all these with us, Jim. These are funny.
Thank y'all so much, and make sure you subscribe and hit like, and we'll keep this thing going and give you some more content, some great content that you can have some fun with like we do.